Hi everyone, as my Barracks and Fire Emblem heroes are filling up, I've made a list on who to keep and send home, and today are the blue heroes. Because there were so many good blue units to choose from, special thanks goes out to my friends iGouger, Reidog, and ITCHY for giving me their second opinions. ITCHY does really interesting arena runs as well as 3-star solutions to various maps. iGouger has been writing really good unit reviews as well as banner reviews on his blog, and we'll be starting a podcast this weekend, which I'll link in the description box down below. Definitely check their channels out, and Reidog's just Reidog. And as always, the disclaimer is that I only send home when my barracks are completely full, and even so I do keep a copy of each hero. And this list will not include 5-star exclusives nor Grand Hero Battle heroes, as I like to keep all of them. And of course, this list is just my opinion and it will differ from person to person depending on what skills they like to play with the most. So first is heroes that I think are pretty good in combat and I would actually rather promote or merge them rather than use them for inheritance. So first up is the unit that really led me to making this category, and it's none other than REINHARDT Thunderfist. At 5 stars, REINHARDT gets access to his special tome Dire Thunder as well as his Sea Slot Goat Cavalry. And I think we all know by now how much of a beast REINHARDT can be when he's on both offensive and defensive teams. And to make matters worse, he can be made even more powerful by giving him Death Blow, as well as pairing him with a Horse Emblem team. So if you do have REINHARDT, especially a plus attack one, I definitely recommend promoting him. And if you do have spare REINHARDTs with non-ideal IVs, you can merge them, and if you promote, you do get a discount number of feathers required for promotion. And although REINHARDT has Vantage 3 at 4 stars, I highly recommend that you get that from Long Coup instead of sacrificing your REINHARDT. Next in this category is NOWI, and her default weapon Lightning Breath allows you to counter from any distance, which is always very useful in arena. Her stats also give her a lot of bulk, and she does have a slightly higher base stat total than the average infantry unit, allowing for slightly higher points in arena scoring. Skills inheritance wise, NOWI offers Lightning Breath to other dragons, though I probably recommend getting this from Adult Tiki instead. She also has Threat and Risk 3 at 4 stars, but NOWI herself is probably one of the better users of Threat and Risk. Next in this category is EFFIE, and EFFIE is very solid as an armored unit. If you ever do want to play Armor Emblem, EFFIE would be a good choice for your Lance unit. Outside of Armor Emblem, EFFIE has pretty strong attack and defense stats. However, unlike Hector, she doesn't naturally come with distant counter. And with Horse Emblem and the mage meta being on the rise, EFFIE may struggle with that one movement a bit more. Skills inheritance wise, she does provide Wary Fighter 3 at 4 stars and Death Blow 2 at 4 stars. Unfortunately, Wary Fighter can only be inherited by armored units, and the slowest armored units in the game, Zephyl and EFFIE, already naturally come with Wary Fighter. Also, Wary Fighter does not sync well with Hector's armors. It will actually prevent Hector from using his armors to double, so do not give Wary Fighter to Hector. Cordelia is a pretty fun unit to use in combat, but you probably need to have good IVs to make the most out of her, either plus attack or plus speed. She's a good Lance unit to add to your FLIER Emblem team, but independently, she's pretty good as a Lance unit herself. Skills inheritance wise, she can pass down Triangle Adept 2 at 4 stars, and she also gets Gale Force at 5 stars. She also gets Pass, which is pretty rubbish. Next I talk about top priority units, which I try to keep as many copies of, if not all, because they have fantastic skills to pass down. I really want more copies of ABEL because he's the only source of Swordbreaker 3 at 4 stars, and ABEL himself is only available at 4 stars and above. I really like Swordbreaker because there are so many sword units who are super fast, and having Swordbreaker can instantly nullify their speed advantage, checking top threats like Ryoma. ODIN is able to pass down Moonbow at 4 stars, which is really popular because of its 2-turn cooldown special. His Blue Blade Tome is also pretty sought after by blue mages to make them even more of a nuke like Lindy or May, or Ursula and Owen in Horse Emblem. He is also the only source of Red Tonebreaker 3 at 4 stars, but because faster red mages aren't really that popular on arena defenses at the moment, this skill won't have that much versatility. Next up is SHANNA, and she's the only source of Desperation 3 at 4 stars. And Desperation is a pretty good base slot skill to give to faster units. People often quote 35 as the lower limit of speed that they would give Desperation to. Obviously, the faster your unit, the more beneficial Desperation will be. That said, I find that even with speeds of 33 and above, Desperation can still work pretty well as long as you run the right team comp and skills of that unit. CORRIN is really good for skills inheritance because at 4 stars she gets Hone Attack 3 as well as Draconic Aura, which are great skills to pass down. I keep CATRIA mainly for her Luna at 4 stars, the other source of Luna being Frederick. CATRIA also gets Armored Blow 3 at 4 stars and Seal Attack 2 at 4 stars, but I don't really use these skills that much. Male Robin at 4 stars has Bonfire to pass down, which is a great special for units with high defense. He also has the Blue Raven Tome, which is actually best used on Male Robin himself. Next in this category is Tsubaki, and he's actually a unique one in this category because he only has Quick Riposte 2 at 4 stars. But there is no other way to get Quick Riposte 3 at 4 stars at the moment, and Quick Riposte is a really nice B skill to have. It lets your bulky but slower units take hits, double on return, doing more damage and charging their specials more quickly. Tsubaki also offers Swap, which is a nice positioning skill to have, especially on tanky units. Next is medium high priority units, and these units have really sought after skills, but only the level 2 version at 4 stars. But because they're so sought after, I still try to keep as many copies as I can. SULLY has SWORDBREAKER 2 at 4 stars, Drawback at 3 stars, and Spirit Defense 3 at 4 stars. Because I can't seem to pull ABELs to save my life, I often have to use SULLY to pass down SWORDBREAKER to the units I want to have them on. At 4 stars, JAGEN has Fortified Cavalry, Fury 2, and Aegis. You do want to keep a copy of Fortified Cavalry for when you start your Horse Emblem team. And also Fury works in so many unit builds and I can never seem to pull enough Hinatas, so it's nice to keep JAGEN for backup Fury too. Next I talk about medium priority units, and these units usually do have pretty good skills but their use is a lot more niche, so I do try to keep a few copies of them. So first up is Florina, and she gets Darting Blow 3 at 4 stars and also has access to Ardent Sacrifice. People often use Ardent Sacrifice to help get their units into Desperation range. Florina also gets Darting Blow 3 at 4 stars, but this is more tricky to use as it's only really effective in a very narrow speed range, and on top of that the unit needs to have significant attack power to make use of it. Next is Perry, and she gets Threat and Defense 3 at 4 stars, which is good for bulky physical units at the front lines. Next up is Donald, and at 3 stars he already comes with 2 really useful skills, Reciprocal Aid and Drag Back. Drag Back is a really good skill to give to brave weapon users to get them back to safety after they initiate the attack. I sometimes even use it on non-brave physical melees just to get them back to safety as well. While Reciprocal Aid can be pretty useful for HP management. Next we have Gwendolyn, who gets Drag Back at 3 stars, and as I mentioned I do like Drag Back on certain units. She gets Hone Armor and Escutcheon at 4 stars, and Hone Armor will be nice to pass on to your Armor Emblem units. Next I talk about units who I consider to be medium low priority, and I do keep a spare of them, and this is because they have skills which are unique to them but aren't too sought after at the moment. Claire has Harsh Command and Spur Speed 2 at 4 stars, and she's currently the only source of Hit and Run. But I honestly prefer using Drag Back to hit and run, and Drag Back is so much more easily accessible. Lucas as a unit is a very interesting tanky wall. For skills inheritance, Fortress Defense is currently unique to him. Fortress Defense is probably good for a tanky healer like Azama who has high defense but already poor attack. That said, I wouldn't go out of my way to 5-star Lucas for Fortress Defense 3. Lastly, I talk about the low priority units, which I only keep their base copy of because I don't really value their skills for inheritance. First in this category is Est, and she offers Shove, Seal Speed 2, and Defiant Risk 3 at 4 stars. And it's not so much that these skills are bad, but they occupy skill slots which can be used for other better purposes. Last in this category is Obero, and she's actually slightly more useful than Est, being able to pass down rally defense at 3 stars, which is always useful when you want to make your rally bot. The unfortunate thing is that rally skills don't stack with Hone or Fortify skills, which I tend to prefer using. And that's all I have for you today. Until next time, see ya!